It's wonderful to see so many of you here. I can barely keep up with the chat as to where everybody is from. So apologies if I do miss out, but we have Scotland, Germany, Venezuela. We've plenty of people from the different clubs in Cork. We have Scotland, Italy, Romania. I'm just scrolling up here to have a look. South America, Canada, Germany. I think I said that already. We've a couple of people from Germany. And I think north, south, east and west of Ireland. So it's fantastic that we can all be together here online to discuss pathways and to discuss our educational programme and how we're all getting on with it and navigating through it. Krystal is our presenter tonight, and let me tell you just a little bit about Krystal. Krystal is the current area director here in Cork, Ireland, and that's Area 23. She is a member of Cork Douglas Toastmasters, which is a District 71 club here in Ireland, and Brunswick County Toastmasters, which is in District 117 in the USA. Krystal joined Toastmasters 5 years ago in 2016. Professionally, she is a professional educator and trainer, and she specialises in IT and digital technologies. This past Toastmaster year, Krystal has achieved 4 PATs and 8 Triple Crowns. So the PATs that she's completed are dynamic leadership, effective coaching, team collaboration, and presentation mastery. Today, Krystal will demonstrate how you can move through the programme with ease and achieve your goals in a practical way from the mindset of a new member or a new user of Pathways, including the base camp manager and club officer roles. With that, I would like you all to unmute and give a very warm welcome for Krystal Long. Welcome, Krystal.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever in the world you're zooming in from. As Patricia said, I'm absolutely fantastic to see so many of you here from different parts and corners of the world. Like Patricia said, I'm an educator by profession, but I've been in Toastmasters for 5 years, since 2016. Like so many of us pre-Pathways, we would have come from a different educational program and made the transition to the new program, which is Pathways. As we know, Pathways has been around a number of years now, but in our district, District 71, which is the UK and Ireland, pretty much the north of England, including Scotland as well. Pathways rolled out for us in May of 2018. And like so many people, members, we're all curious to know what this new program is all about. And would it be any better, or would it be a lot easier and simpler than the old program? And how will the new program benefit us? So since the rollout, I suppose many of us have had a lot of questions. We found it very difficult to navigate. There's been a lot of educational programs and tutorials on Pathways. But for me, my own experience is, as Patricia said, I have achieved 4 PATs, but that didn't happen as easy as it sounds. When the rollout happened in 2018, like so many, I was eager to get on Pathways and really figure out what this new craze was all about with the educational program. What I found out very quickly was I managed to complete one project in one path, which was dynamic leadership. I managed to complete the icebreaker project, and I didn't do any more with it until this Toastmaster year, 2020-2021. For the simple reason that I got stuck. I was unsure where to go, how to navigate or work through the program myself. So I ended up putting, I suppose, kind of like a message in the Toastmasters International official Facebook group that so many of us are in, and we get a lot of resource and support. So I asked for someone to help me because I couldn't understand it. So one lady reached out to me. Her name is Julie Dahl, a Toastmaster member from District 70, which is Australia. And she came on board and helped me to navigate Pathways. So I started again on Pathways and started moving through the system. I will share my screen in a moment and take you through the website, and we can actually see it in practical sense. But just to say that without a mentor, I couldn't achieve what I've achieved today. And I think, you know, one of the big cornerstones of Toastmasters, apart from the evaluation feedback, is actually having a mentor as well to guide you through the Toastmasters experience and help you on your path. But for me, you know, it was a very daunting experience. I was quite eager and quite excited, but then it stopped me in my tracks. And like so many of us, I just got frustrated with the thing and just stopped for nearly 2 years. So then Julie helped me out, as I said, and we got talking. And what I realized was that you can do the paths, the levels in any order. You don't have to do them from 1 to 5. And quite quickly, what I realized is that the goals I had coming up in my own life, professionally or personally, I was able to apply them to pathways and work on the projects that were applicable to me in the here and now. And because I did that, it actually made pathways a lot much more easier and a lot more, I suppose, enjoyable journey with it. So the level that I got really frustrated with was level 2. A lot of the level 2 projects are around, you know, understanding your communication style or the leadership style. And I felt for me personally, that was too soon in my journey to actually be accessing those paths, because I didn't feel I had enough work done and didn't have enough awareness of who I am as a speaker and what my strengths and what my style was. So I left the level 2 to later. But what I found was, of course, the pathways awards and the level achievements can only be done in order. So even though I started with level 5, I couldn't get credit until level 2 was done. So I'm just going to share the screen and we're going to look at it from logging in. The first step, we log in with our username password. So like all new members, we get a username and password set up for us. So we get an email from TI to say that, you know, welcome to Toastmasters. This is your access to the portal. So we're going to start from there and take it from there. Can you all see my screen? Yeah. Thank you, Eric. Okay, so you just log in. It's your username and password. So the thing about this website, I know a lot of us are probably used to know at this stage logging in, but if you're not, there's a lot of resources in there that we can use as well, particularly in relation to pathways. So there are a couple of ways you can access pathways. You can go through pathways here, you can go straight to your base camp, or you can go to your profile. So you just click on your name where it says welcome Krystal. And there you see I have 3 tabs at the top of my profile. One saying go to base camp, choose a new path, and view the navigator. I'm not going to go through the navigator because that's a separate thing which actually helps you helps to explain pathways a bit more. So for any new member, we're asked to choose a path, and as we know, is $20 for any new path. So you just go in, choose a path. Then you select your language preference. The best thing about pathways is that it's available in so many languages nowadays around the world. And it's asking you, how would you like to access your materials? You can do it in 2 ways. You can do it in print format, where you get the manuals posted out to you, or you can get the online digital versions. What I find with the online digital versions, for me, it's a lot better than the printed ones, depending on your preference, because you can download your entire projects within the paths themselves. So saving you money on, you know, paying the postage costs for Toastmasters. So then you just click on it. So just click on digital. Okay, select digital resources. Okay, and then it's asking you, how would you like to select your learning path? So you can take an online assessment if you're not sure. As many of us know, Pathways has 11 paths to offer us. So we just go through the view path options, continue. Okay. So it's given us options of paths. You can go down through each of these in detail and explain what each of them are. You have things like presentation mastery, dynamic leadership, effective coaching, innovative planning, engaging humor, and so many others. So that's how you select a path, and then it will take you to the next window once you've made your mind up which path you want. As you can see, currently visionary communication is blanked out because I already have it. And then it will just take you to the payment window. Okay, if you're getting a free path because you're a new member, you won't have to pay. So just back to welcome to Pathways. Okay, so once your path has been uploaded, it will go into Basecamp. It says select your club. This just shows which club is your home club. If you're a dual member like me, you probably have 2 clubs or more listed there. So by clicking on your home club, it's selecting the club that you want to work with and who you want your awards to go to. So just click on Cork Douglas for the moment and go to Basecamp. And Basecamp starts loading. So this is the main portal that we go through. Everything we need is in here. You just click on paths and learning. There's other things in there like tutorials and videos that you can watch at your own leisure. At the moment, you can see visionary communication is open, but as you can see, the buttons here says active. If you've completed paths before, or if you complete a path and you want to go back in to get your certificate, you're just going to complete it. Paths and we'll bring them back up, and training type and all types. Okay, so I'm just going to go into complete it, and there are the 4 paths I've completed over the course of this year, including the Distinguished Toastmaster project at the end. So I'm just going to go into dynamic leadership just to give you an idea of what I've done this past year with that. Oh. Sorry now. So you just open curriculum. Sorry, it's just started bouncing on me now. Okay. Okay. Let's try this one more time. I'm going to complete it. To dynamic leadership and open curriculum. Okay, there we go. So as you can see on the left-hand side, all of these are completed. So all of these levels are open. So you can go in and you can look at the various projects in them. What you find in levels 1 to 2, they're all mandatory projects, but whereas when you get to level 3, 4, and 5, you get this thing called elective projects. So level 1 is pretty much where we all start. You have your icebreaker speech, you have your evaluation and feedback, your researching and presenting, and then you complete your level. So in the icebreaker speech, you just launch. You have to make sure as well that you have the pop-up blocker, that you allow the pop-ups on the website, because otherwise it won't work for you. Okay, so I'm just going to go down here to select to move to another section. I'm just going to go back to the induction. What I find with this is that there's a lot of useful videos and tutorials that really explains what's going on, and there's printing your project. You can view and print your project or download it to your computer instead of actually getting a manual, so it's quite useful there as well. You have a project checklist. before you start your project, it's asking you to assess your skills before. So it's always best to assess your skills before you put in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where you think you are in terms of, I am confident and calm when speaking in front of others. And then it would go through 5 questions. So then again, more useful resources. You can watch these at your own time. Then it gives you some printout handouts that you can use. So you can either print them out or save them. The evaluation records are in here as well, which you can just type into as well. So it's just various things for you to read over. Okay, so then you get to the end. After you've done your speech, got your evaluation, you come back and you complete your assignment. So then you've printed my project. You can print the evaluation resource on its own, or the icebreaker speech outline workshop or worksheet, which is very good. So if you're new to Toastmasters or new to the pathways, it gives you a few ideas on how to jot down ideas and points about your speech. And then finally, you must assess your skills after. So you must go back in and assess your skills after. It will take you through another 5 questions to check what your level of competency is after you've finished your project. Then it will say, congratulations, the speech is done, and it will do pretty much the same for every single one as you go down. So the evaluation feedback, there's more than one speech here. There's 2 speeches, and there's an evaluation, and then finally a 1 project on researching and presenting. Okay, I'm just going to stop there just to check in with you. Is everyone okay so far? Is there anyone any questions on that?
Krystal, there's 2 questions here in the chat that people sent to me. One is from Philip O'Brien, and he just made the point that maybe some people haven't logged in a while, or if ever into Pathways, and can we just look at how you would retrieve your password from the start of when you log in?
Yeah, so what tends to happen there is the club officer will have to reset it for you from inside the system, because it happened to me a couple of years ago when I was on the old system. I never used the website, even though many of us had access to it. But when Pathways started rolling out and we had to go in and actually into the website and actually use the Basecamp, I actually had to either email Toastmasters International myself, or a club officer can reset it for you from within the system.
Okay. Thanks for that, Krystal. And the second question from Ted Malamphy is, how do you know when you have unblocked the pop-up?
Okay, that's a very good question. I'll just share my screen there. Okay, I'm just going to move my toolbar. So how you know is that there's 3 dots to the side of the right-hand side of the website. You just click on it. You go down to settings. Okay. You still see my screen, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. And scroll down. It should be down here. Okay. Into advanced. Okay, this must be hidden on mine. Okay. Okay, just what I do is I go back into Toastmasters for a sec. Like usually you get a little pop-up button down here with a red on the right-hand side, and you just click on it to unblock it. That's what usually happens when I see it, but usually it's in here. It should be in settings. Okay, just search. Yeah, so you're going to site settings. Okay. So if you go down to pop-ups and redirects. Okay, so I have Toastmasters down here. So I just put the website in and I just block, edit or remove. So I just edit it and I just selected allow then. Okay, does that answer Ted's question? Are you okay, Ted, with that one?
Yeah, thanks very much, Krystal. That's a great explanation there. Thank you.
Okay.
And one other question here, Krystal, just on that. Actually, there's more coming in here now while I speak. Give me 2 seconds now.
Yeah.
Okay, from Fanula here. If level 1 projects are similar or the same in each pass, do you have to repeat level 1 each time you do a new pass?
Unfortunately, the answer to that is yes. I think it's all part of the learning, and they're hoping that what you learn in previous level 1, that you will take it each time and give a new speech icebreaker. I know it seems kind of boring when you're in your own club and giving an icebreaker constantly, but the whole point, I think, is just so that we refresh the skills that we've learned at the beginning and remind ourselves of the skills that we honed in. Because what we get is that when we move through the levels and through the various projects, that what some people find is that it's always nice to go back to the beginning and to remind ourselves of just the very basics that we've learned. Because sometimes we can get complacent and forget about just the foundation skills, really. So unfortunately, that is there, but I don't think that's going away anytime soon.
Can I say something on that, Krystal?
You can.
Just on that, one thing that I just found in relation to the icebreakers and the different paths for myself was, we'll say the very first icebreaker I did was my very first speech that I ever did in Toastmasters. I had nothing. I was not involved with Toastmasters when we had CC. So what I did then was, we'll say my second icebreaker picked up where the first one left off. So my first icebreaker finished when, now here I am in front of you all giving my first speech. So then the second icebreaker took up on that. And then the third one would be kind of maybe, look, here I am 2 or 3 years down the line. Where am I at now? So I think it can be a nice way, the icebreaker in each path, to plot your journey and your success through Toastmasters. That's just the way I'm looking at those icebreakers, as a way of doing it. And some comments that are coming in here, Krystal, in relation to that is repeating level 1 is an opportunity to align with the objectives of the new path, which I suppose would be maybe like if you were doing engaging humor, it could be a funny one or something like that. Also, there are many facets to who we are, so there's lots to share, that you could pick a different facet of yourself for each icebreaker that you give.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, because every path is different, and you're always learning something different about yourself, and it gives you great opportunity as well to deliver different speeches as well.
Then in relation to the password or retrieving the password, somebody has just said here that there's a forgot password link on the window. So clicking on that should probably redirect you to your email, which will regenerate a new password for you.
Absolutely, as well. And if you're really stuck with it, do contact your club officer as well. They could help you with it, or maybe just Josh Toastmasters an email as well. It can happen to the best of us.
And then one final comment here from Breda Buckley. She just said, could you just mention a little bit about unblocking the pop-up again? Because she just missed which you have to click on. Is it block, edit or review?
Okay, so you're going to edit to allow it. So I'll just show you there again. Okay, so you go into the 3 dots on the right-hand side of the web page, just up at the address bar, and you're just going to settings. Okay, and just with that, you're just going to start settings, just into put in pop, it goes site settings down here. Okay, second there now, just so many toolbars in my way. And then recent activity, you should find Toastmasters website down here. Pop-up redirects. Okay, you see an arrow there. Okay, so it's allowing you permissions, or you could just go into edit. Oh. Just go into edit and then allow. Okay, does that make sense, Brita?
Yeah, thanks.
No worries.
And Krystal, one final one here, sorry, it's just another question has come in, that a demonstration of retrieving a completed certificate when you have done or a completed PAT certificate at the end of your level 5. Could you show where you go to get that, is the question.
Yeah, what I do is I'm just going to work through another section of it, and when we get to that, then I'll just go into it. Is that
Perfect.
all right?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, thanks, Patricia. So just to go back into the curriculum, okay, so that is level 1. Level 2, as I said, the projects in this are pretty much mandatory. You know, you don't get an option. Then when you get to level 3, okay, so when I started dynamic leadership, I started with level 3 straight away. I just stopped at the icebreaker, went straight into level 3 because I fell out in love with pathways as soon as I got into it. So my pathways mentor asked me to do an elective to get me back into the joy of speaking again. So what I chose was out of the elective projects. Okay, as you can see, the minimum required is 2. There's 14 to choose from, so all I needed was 2 to complete the electives. So what I did was connect with storytelling. That was a nice way for me to get back into speaking again and speaking with ease. And I just picked a story about my family, a story that involved emigration to Australia and stuff like that. And it allowed me to feel like I was public speaking again naturally in some shape or form. So then after that, I decided to do the using the presentation software project, because over my job at the moment, particularly during the pandemic, I'm an educator, so a lot of my teaching went online. So I had to learn a new way of sharing information using visual aids. So I use that project. So I just click on launch just to give you an idea. So like the other projects that we've seen, you're going to get all these videos, these tutorials, these resources as well, and you can print your entire project if you want. So you can move through the sections using this guy at the end, select to move to another section. So just go back to the intro. And then you use the arrows to the left and right to go forward or back. You get the purpose statement of the assignment. The purpose of this project is to introduce or review basic presentation software strategies for creating and using slides to support or enhance the speech. So the overview then is select a speech topic that lends well to visual presentation using technology. Use the content of this project and your own research to help you develop your slides. Give a 5 to 7 minute speech using the slides you have developed. Your speech can be humorous, demonstrative, or informational, and it may include stories or anecdotes. So again, I have to assess my skills before, just a short 5 question questionnaire. It takes me through the competencies that are in this path, how to use presentation software, when to use it, when not to use it, how to write, plan your slides, and so on. So it just gives you all this wonderful information for you to help you to get started. Just take you down to the end. So you review what you've learned. Again, there's a project checklist there. Just open it. You can go down through this yourselves. So just to help you to, you know, come up with ideas or come up with suggestions and how to rehearse your speech, any notes, things like that. So then just moving on. Of course, you get your evaluation record is in there. If you just want to print your evaluation, these are writable PDFs, so we can email those onto our evaluators, and you can fill in the details. And as they're evaluating you as well, they can fill in their comments and notes. And then they can make their recommendations based on the scale of 1 to 5, based on various elements like clarity, vocal variety, and so on. So then you assess your skills after. So the thing with this is you must assess your skills after, because otherwise your project is not complete fully. So again, there's 5 questions. You just answer them and you keep clicking next until you get to the end where it says congratulations. Then you come out and come back into the curriculum. So that's my 2 electives done. Of course, there's other ones there I could choose from, but it depends pretty much on what your own goals are. So then back to the main project of level 3, as you can see, there's negotiate the best outcome. This is a mandatory project that must be completed in order for you to complete this level. So again, I used my own professional life to get this goal achieved, because I was in work at the moment, pandemic. I had to learn new skills. I had to develop them quickly, but I wanted to go to Trinity College here in Ireland and actually learn to do those things. So I had to go and learn how to negotiate with my boss, how to get time out, who's going to cover my shifts, how much the course is going to cost, how long it's going to be. And what I found was I came out with a win-win situation. So my boss was very taken back that I was interested in progressing, and the outcome would be fantastic for the students, for the company I work for, and of course for the centre I work with as well. So, you know, it was a win-win situation, and my boss was happy enough then to have the company pay for the training, for have me take the time that I need, and he put in, you know, the requirements that are needed to fulfill my role by someone else while I was away. So that was great, and I was able to use that. Then same with the level 4, I did manage change. The project I used for that was how we went from in-person training to online, and how we managed that change. Again, I chose an elective project. The one I chose is down here, manage online meetings. So what I did with this one is that I opened up 4 paths. I got 1 path free from Toastmasters. You know, they were offering free path when we renewed our membership. And I opened up other paths as well, because I have to manage a lot of online meetings and work. And I really wanted to get the most out of this. So I used it to my advantage in that I had somebody evaluate the recordings of my online meetings that I did for work and ones that I did in Toastmasters as well. So every time I was kind of honing in on those skills and making them work for me. And I just found my confidence has really grown in that area as well, because I'm doing a lot of meetings and events as well at work. So then the question was, how do you find the certificates afterwards? Okay, so as you can see, when you get down to level 5, okay, this is the final level. Okay, again, I did lead in any situation. The project I used there was my area director role. So you had to lead in a volunteer organisation for 6 months. So I used the first term of my area director role, as I'm currently doing. Then again, I needed a minimum of 1 elective project to complete level 5. And out of the 6 items, I chose prepare to speak professionally. Because of all the work that I was doing in my professional life, I felt that was the best project for me. And then finally, the PAT completion. Okay, so your review certificate is in here. It just pops up. Okay, so that's stored there, even though I've downloaded it before, it's there should I want to go back in and achieve it. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But just to say, after every level that you complete, make sure that you complete the level. Okay, there'll be a button usually here that will say mark complete. Okay, and it will send a message to the Basecamp manager that you've completed your project. So when they approve, you come back into the level here again, and you just click on view certificate, and it will give you your certificate. If it's the case that the PAT has been completed and you can't find it, what happens is it gets archived automatically. So you go back to paths and learning. You go back to where the list of your paths are, and you see this button here to the left. It says active. Just click on it. You're going to complete it. So all the completed training you have done will be stored in here. And then you just click on the path that you've finished, dynamic leadership. Again, you just go down to level 5. There. Yeah, and you could just go down to level 5 again, into path completion, and it'll give your certificate. The same as well with the other levels if you want to go back in and achieve your certificates. So it's a PDF, as you know, you get, and it's pretty much easily downloadable and printable as well. Okay, I'm just going to take a break there and just check in with you. How are we doing? Are you lost?
Krystal, there's a good few questions here. Do you want me to
fly away.
Go through them? Okay, so there's one here that's, I think, just an add-on to what you were talking about in the last section, and it is in relation to, I think it's in relation to unblocking the pop-up blockers, and it's just, does this only apply to Chrome, or I suppose if you're using Internet Explorer or Firefox, is there a different way of doing it, or is it the same across all?
It's the same across. You just go into the settings of your browser, and you go into search, and you just put the word pop into it, and it will give you a highlighted site settings, and then you just go into the pop-up section of it, and you just allow the Toastmasters website to be unblocked. So that will allow for the videos and the other audible tutorials as well to be shown and to be heard on the website.
Great, thanks. The next question is from Patricia Comole, and I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. She's saying, how could Krystal show us how to register a completed speech? So I suppose she means how you get it awarded, you know, as fully complete.
Yeah, I'll just share screen again. Okay, so when you're finished, when each member finishes a level, okay, when you go through your projects, you must assess your skills before and assess your skills after, because that will show that the project has been fulfilled. And when you get down to the end where it says level 1 completion, instead of seeing view certificate there, it would say mark as complete. If that doesn't show up, then that means that there's possibly one project inside in level 1 where the member hasn't assess the skills before and after. So it's just probably just a case of going back into the website, going into assessor skills before and fast forward into after to lock it in. Then this will come up as mark as complete. If you're a base camp manager, just to show you. Okay, just going to my profile. Okay. What you find is these 3 boxes on the top of your actual profile in the website. It says go to Basecamp. If I don't click login as Basecamp manager, then I'm going in as an ordinary member. The Basecamp managers are the club presidents, the secretaries, and the VPs. So we just click that, and in we go. Okay. So when a member is marking a project as complete, the Basecamp managers will get a notification or a pending request. It will show up in here. Okay, so it might say requested by Krystal Long. The training was dynamic leadership type level 1, and then you have the option then to approve the path, or the level rather. So then once you do that, the member then will automatically get an email from Toastmasters International congratulating them on completing their level or the whole path, if it may be. So then what happens then is it's just a case of the member going back in to where they finish the level or the path and just click on view certificate and actually print or save the project, or the certificate rather. Does that answer that?
I think so. Patricia came back and said she was talking about registering our completed speech, that so that our club gets credit for it. But I think that's what you covered there, wasn't it, in the end about...
Yeah, and what I would say as well, just an add-on, I think a lot of club officers forget there's a two-way step in order to get DCP points. So you approve of the level or the level request or the path request on Basecamp to give the member credit, but you must go back into Club Central, into the old system, and actually approve of it in there as well. And then Toastmasters International will add it to your DCP points for your club. So just to kind of show you quickly.
This is Patricia, and my question is about, it seems that not when we finish a project, but when we give a speech, every time we give a speech and we get evaluation, that needs to be registered somewhere. That's what I've understood. They're waiting for me to register my speech, and I can't figure out how to do that because they need it, I guess, so many speeches and they get so many points or something. I don't know about that, but it had to do with registering a speech.
Okay, so when you're doing a speech project from the system, you know, as the icebreaker speech, you go in, you open up the tutorial, you assess your skills before and after. Mm-hmm. But when all those projects in that one level is finished, then you mark it as complete. Then the club officer will get a notification that there's a pending request inside in Basecamp for Patricia's speech to be, or level to be approved. So that's what it means by registering.
Oh, so it's not when we complete a speech, we don't have to do anything. We used to have to show our in the old system, we had to show our evaluation to VP education, I think, and it was all noted down, the number of speeches that were given, that was recorded somewhere. We don't need to do that anymore. Is that right?
That's correct, because with Pathways, it automatically does it for you. So when you finish a project and you do your assessor skills before and after, you're essentially telling the system that you fulfilled the requirements, and you do that for every project. But when you get to the last project in it, you mark the whole level as complete.
Okay.
That will send, you know, the pending request to the Basecamp manager to approve. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. It's very helpful.
No worries.
So can I just ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm the VP in my club, and I've approved someone's speech level, for example, and they've got their email from Toastmasters. It's showing on the dashboard, but on their own path, it still says pending on the level completion. And we can't work out how to get rid of that.
So is it the case that the member is sending you the notification saying that they finished their level and you're just approving the pending request, is it?
Yeah, so I've done that, and they've had the email from Toastmasters. The dashboard shows that they've completed that level, but on their own path, it's still showing as pending on that level.
Okay, what I would say you do is email Toastmasters themselves. It could be just a glitch in the system. That shouldn't be there.
And then my second problem is I've got a club where the person's had the email from Toastmasters to say that, confirm that they've completed the path, but it's not showing on the dashboard.
And when did they complete it? Was it quite recently?
About the 12th of May.
Yeah, I would check on Toastmasters International to see what the year-end business is, because sometimes they kind of stop putting credit on DCP until they recalibrate it. So it's probably in between cycles.
Okay, thank you.
So I had that with one club at the moment. They renewed their membership quite recently, and it may appear as though that it won't show on the dashboard till the 11th of June.
Okay, thanks.
So it's just a case of just getting confirmation from them that's the case, or it could be something else.
Brilliant, thanks.
No worries.
Krystal, we have another comment here from Tom. Hi, Tom. It's good to see you, Tom O'Keefe.
Oh, hi, Tom.
Tom has just made a comment here, and I think it's something that happened to me once or twice as well when I was trying to register my projects. He said for completing any project, when you're doing the assessing your skills section at the end, it is essential to click on the submit button. If it's not done, I think sometimes you can click the arrows.
Yeah.
It won't be complete, and then and this is where the stumbling block is, and that's how people get frustrated with it not showing as completed. So I think that's a good point there.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah, so there's 5 questions on it. So you answer 1 and you grade yourself on 1 to 5. Then you go next, when you're finished grading yourself. And then the final question will ask you to click submit. And then that will lock in that the project has been fulfilled. And you do that for every project.
Yeah, because I remember I was doing that, but I wasn't clicking the submit button. And then I'd go back and 3 or 4 times I'd try, but it was my fault because I wasn't hitting the submit button.
I know, it's just the small things that you forget. And sometimes these are the things that are probably not best explained.
And maybe that's where the frustration lies then sometimes as well, because you do it 2 or 3 times and you're thinking, where have I gone wrong? Another question here from Nikenje. Good to see Nikenje as well, an old friend of Toastmasters. She said, why is it at times you can type directly into an evaluation form and then other times it doesn't allow you to?
I think it probably depends on the software you're using on your computer after you download it. So, there's different types of software there for PDF. So I'm not too sure. Like for me, I've had no issue with it. I suppose like it could be the software that is probably on your system.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find the next comment is from Breda Buckley. And this is one I know that some people have asked me several times as well in my club when I was EVP is, when you are evaluated, how do you update that onto Pathways?
I think that's one of the key problems that caused a lot of confusion at the very beginning with Pathways. People were panicking about how to upload their evaluation forms to Pathways. You don't need to. They're just yours to keep, I suppose. But there is a profile you have on the system I'll show you there in a moment where you could upload them, but they're just yours for filing and to keep, the same way as you would file them on your own computer or on your own laptop or something, So I think that's where people kind of got stuck at the very beginning of Pathways. They're yours to save, whether you save them in your My Documents folder on your own computer or wherever you store them, or you can upload them if you want onto your Basecamp profile. I'll just show you there just to give you an idea. Okay, so going to home. I'm just going to come out of that now because I'm not Basecamp manager. Get rid of some of these. Okay. I'm just going to come out of that altogether. See what happens when you have too many tabs open. Okay. So here we are. Okay. Just going to go into my own profile there just to give you an idea. Okay, so down the left-hand side, you see Paths and Education, Speech, Evaluations, Tutorial and Resources. Then there's a folder for My Documents. Okay, if you want to save your evaluation forms, you can. I don't bother, I prefer to keep them on my own laptop. So then you just click Add File and you select a file from your computer and add to it. That's essentially all you're doing with the evaluation forms. Or what a lot of people tend to do is keep them, on their own computers as well for filing. Okay. So then just to show you down here, we have badges. That will show you all the badges that you've completed for all the paths and the levels. So there's all the ones I've achieved, different paths, different levels. So I did 4 level 5s. That's what that means. I should say as well, there's a Pathways mentor program. After you finish level 2, Toastmasters International will pull an extra project in there for you to complete if you want to learn how to be a mentor yourself. So really going from the protege to someone now being mentored. So it's a lovely project I did myself. I spent 6 months working with a mentee, and it gave me a lot of insights into being a mentor as well, and about sharing the experience and journey with Toastmasters. So they're there as well. So like, I wouldn't really worry too much about evaluation forms being uploaded to Toastmasters website. Pretty much all I do is just share them to my laptop. All right.
There's a few more questions, Krystal. Will I keep going?
Do.
Yeah. Okay, so Lisa has a question, and if I understand this right, Lisa's saying that her current path is dynamic leadership.
Mm-hmm.
But why are the qualifications? So I think, after you complete each level, you get the initials of the path after your name. She's saying, why are hers showing up as EC1 and EC2 rather than DL1 and DL2? I think that's what.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So your second path is showing up instead of your first, is it?
No, I registered originally with the dynamic leadership path, leadership. So I was expecting to get DL1, DL2, DL3, blah, 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 right? But I'm getting EC1, EC2, EC3 as I progress each level. Yeah, so I think you're going to have to email education@toastmasters.org and see if they can rectify that for you, Lisa. Can you repeat the email address there again, Krystal? Sorry. education@toastmasters.org. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
No worries.
I will.
Fanula sorry, Lisa, I cut across you there. Fanula had a question, but I think you answered it. It was along the similar lines of, do you need to upload your speeches and evaluation onto your profile documents? But I think you've covered that.
No, unless you want to, I don't hear or see of many Toastmasters uploading it unless you want to. But, my documents on my laptop is fine for me, A
question from Gillian is, how do you manage speeches that you do outside your own club in terms of pathways? I think is what she means there. Well, what I've been doing is I have to manage online meetings in work as I'm teaching with students, like webinars and things like that. I have them recorded. And sometimes I could have them shown in a club as a video and somebody's evaluating them, or I can send them to an evaluator as well. But you can do a certain amount of speeches outside of the club. I think it's about 2 or 3. That can be approved by Toastmasters International. But yeah, so it's pretty much I'm practicing in the real world, but I do them in Toastmasters as well anyway. Like if you're doing a webinar or workshop such as this, or if you're running a club meeting, or whatever it is you're doing, like I've done ones in person as well, where I had an evaluator from Toastmasters there with the actual evaluation sheet sitting down the back of the room, actually recording my evaluation. And, that evaluator can be invited just to speak about the evaluation they gave me at a live event, or they don't have to. Okay, and one here from Angela. Well, she has a 2-parter because she just sent a second part. The first part says, why is it all so complex? And her second part is, what is the difference between clicking on profile and accessing Basecamp from there, or clicking on the Basecamp when you first log in on the, when you have the three boxes and you click on the middle one for Basecamp? What's the difference? I think Toastmasters are just giving us multi ways to log in just to make it accessible. But I think, it has complicated it for things, for people. But I prefer to go in through my profile just to show you again. It depends on the person, I don't know if I can just come out of that. Okay, so if you go back to the home page, you see your name at the top. It says Welcome Krystal, or you can go down here to Pathways. It just gives you an option to go in this way, or you can go in through profile. I just find it better to go through my profile because it's just easier for me, and I can just go into Basecamp. It depends on yourself really, so you can either
as I said, going through pathways. If you don't want to go through your profile, you just want to go straight to base camp, you can. You know, but it depends on the person you go in which way you think is comfortable for yourself.
And that's all the questions, Krystal, and comments in the chat for now.
Okay, I actually had a question earlier from someone, which I'm going to address here. It's about being a dual member, working on pathways. Since COVID-19 hit, I suppose there's a lot of us, I suppose, out there, dual members, and a lot of VPs are wondering what's happening to the DCP points for the clubs, and they're sharing it with other clubs. So I'm just going to kind of share the screen there just to give you an idea. Okay. Oh, disappeared. Okay. So what you find on Basecamp, if you're a member of more than one club, if you click on it, it says select your club. So as you can see, I'm a member of 2 clubs, Cork Douglas and Brunswick County Toastmasters in the US. So if I'm interested in giving educational awards or points to one of the clubs, so for argument's sake, I did give 3 awards to the Cork Douglas, so I'm going to spread the other 3 over Brunswick County, you know. So all I need to do is just change my home club. You will get this up. Please confirm that you are switching your home club from Cork Douglas to Brunswick. You click continue. What I would say is check your inbox as well, just to ensure that you get an email back just to say that you switched your home club, because what could happen is if you're going through your levels and you complete a level, what could happen then is Cork Douglas can get a pending request saying that Krystal has finished a project that should have gone to the other club, you know. So you work it the same as you would normally. It's just the VP of Brunswick County Toastmasters will get my notifications. They will add, they will approve in Basecamp and add the award to the DCP in Club Centre. Does that make sense? So basically, just be careful when you're toggling with that you have the right home club, because you could end up giving, you know, older DCP to another club over the other, you know. So it depends really, and which club you're working with in terms of pathways. Okay. The other thing I'm going to look at is the Distinguished Toastmaster and how to work through it in pathways. I have a chart here that I'm just going to show you. Okay. So a couple of years ago, there was a Toastmaster in Australia named Mark Snow. Mark became the first DTM under Pathways. And since then, we've been fortunate enough that he's been giving us resources and tools. But I think he's really simplified it for me in this chart that he sent to me. So to become a Distinguished Toastmasters in Pathways, you can do these things in any order you wish, okay? So there are a couple of building blocks, which I would call, so you've got education, club leadership, district leadership, club extension, and club support. You can do these in any order, whichever you're comfortable. So under the education, you need to complete 2 learning paths. So you complete a first learning path and then a second learning path. Then there's C, complete the Distinguished Toastmasters project. The Distinguished Toastmaster project is not embedded in Basecamp like you would find the other projects within the levels. Once you have one path done and up to level 3 in the second path, then you need to email education@toastmasters.org to request that the Toastmasters DTM project be added to your Basecamp account. Okay. Then under club leadership, you serve as a club officer for any one of the following, 12 months in total. You can do 2 6-month terms in 2 different club officer roles, or you can do the same one for the full 12 months. District leadership, you serve as a district officer for 1 12-month term. So that's anything from an area director, a division director, members of the DLT, which is district director, club growth, program quality, admin manager, and so on. The club extension, you serve as any one of the following. You can be a club sponsor a new club, the formation of a new club, speechcraft coordinator. There's a new speechcraft digital bundle out there now, so we can do it online or in person. Or C, youth leadership coordinator. So all you need is one of those. The club support then is serve as any one of the following: club mentor or club coach to an existing club or a newly chartered club. Okay, so that's pretty much the DTM route. You can do, as I said, do these in any order. How fast you get through it is up to yourself. Everybody's different. We've got our own pace, our own goals. But what I find is, I find a goal that's that I need to complete my professional or personal life. And then what I do is I find a project within Pathways that will help me achieve that, help me get the skills and the things that I need, and take it from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up the DTM Toastmaster project just to give you just a bit of an idea. Let's share my screen. Okay. I'm going to go back into PATS and learning. So this is after the request I sent to Toastmasters International to ask them to apply the DTM project to my Basecamp. So I have completed, I just went to the completed archives to get it up. And as I scroll down to the end, there's the Distinguished Toastmaster project. So just click on it. Sorry, it's bouncing back out. I'm working the thing too hard today. Okay, try again. And try this button. There we go. Okay, so this is pretty much a two-part project. Okay, so it's a project designed on, you have to come up with a project of your choice. What I used a couple of months ago was bringing Speechcraft online, and how I was going to do it. I brought a team together. It sounds kind of a bit similar to the old HPL, but you don't need a guidance committee. So here's the introduction. Okay, the purpose of this project is to demonstrate your skills as a leader and public speaker. Okay, so you plan and complete a project that benefits an organization. You may choose to revisit any previous Toastmasters Pathways project that contains information to help you. You will develop a team. So I put a team of 5 to 7 people together, and I had to deliver a 5 to 7 minute speech at a club meeting to share the plan and the idea of how we were going to bring Speechcraft online, how it was going to benefit Toastmasters, and how it was going to benefit our clubs by getting new members in, and so on. Then we had to organize the project. So we had to go about the project. We had to organize our Speechcraft. We had to implement it, and I had to lead a team to complete it. And Patricia was part of that team as well. Then at the end of it, assess your skills before. And at the end of the project, the lads will do a 360-degree evaluation on me, just from my own feedback. And I use that pretty much in the second speech as well, what I learned from the project and working with people, what I've learned about myself throughout the process. So I'll just show you the printer project. Okay, so there's a whole project plan. So I'll just give you the view project plan overview. So it gives you a set of guidance. It's actually very useful. What's the purpose of your project? The resources you're going to need, the people you're going to need, how you're going to, bring a team together, and so on and so forth. So that's what that is. Sorry, this is jumping all over the place. So what you find in the Distinguished Toastmaster project, there's a lot of tools and resources there to help you to plan, to prepare, and to deliver on your project as well. And that's the first speech, which is the 5 to 7 minute speech. You just talk about the idea and the plan and the team that are going to help you to deliver this plan. So you can download the whole project plan if you wish, or you can view it. We just view it. I don't know why it won't go any bigger for me. Okay, so it looks at the team. Okay, so who's in your team, the tasks that are going to be delegated, how you're going to reach the milestones. Looking at team members, their strengths, what they can bring to the project. And that's pretty much part 1. So then we just go through the whole tutorials. Okay, I found the 360-degree evaluation excellent because I found a lot about myself and about how I work with a team, and helped me to sharpen a lot more the skills. So just to give you an idea, just to say Helen's in the audience as well. She did a fabulous evaluation for me as well. So thanks, Helen. So it's the evaluation name, date, role, the role within the team, the leader name, which is myself, and the time frame for the evaluation. So this is going on throughout the course of the time we had together. So it's all about, did this leader provide a clear sense of purpose, direction, responsibility to the team members, and so on and so forth. So there's a couple of questions there that they just need to answer. It's like a performance review, really. And that's that. And then you just go through this. Then I'm kind of starting to get going on my second speech project. So it's just 2 speeches based on a project that we did. And this is completing the assessment. Okay, so you've all the resources there, the tasks, how to goal set, how to work with a team, selecting your team, all of that. And then you assess your skills after, and it's done. Okay, does that make sense? How are we doing, Patricia?
We're doing good, Krystal. I don't have any comments here. No, I think I answered. One person there was looking for the DTM chart. Helen was, but I sent it to her because I actually had that chart from one of I think it was either yourself or Mark's last talks. It was very interesting. So it's one of my reference guides. So we're okay with the chat here. Just a few people saying thanks. They had to drop off, but how informative they found the session, and they've left some email addresses which I've collected so that we can follow up.
Oh, absolutely. And if anyone wants to meet me one-on-one to go through any of this stuff, I'd be happy to facilitate, or happy to work you through it in one-to-one, because it could be a bit hard when there's so many people on the screen as well, like, when you're trying to go through all these technical stuff. But this is live streamed as well, so it's on YouTube as well, should you want to rewind and go back to any parts of what we discussed as well. So I have a question for the audience. Is there anything in your club that you found that made it pathways easier for your members that you might want to share? Because I know, Patricia, you did something very good with your club yourself and your VP.
We did. We decided, because we were going online, and we had a good few new members, and the majority of our members this year started on Pathways, so even the ones that were on the competent communicator. So it was the first year, and we felt we had a captive audience in some ways because they were online. So what we did was, every week on our agenda, we just asked those who were speaking to stay online for 10-15 minutes after the meeting, and we literally walked them through registering the project. So for the first maybe 1 or 2 projects, I would share the screen with them and I would tell them, you click on this, you click on that, and move forward. And then you found by the time they got onto the third project, they shared their screen, but they were the ones doing it just to make sure they were doing it right. It was also good because I suppose we wanted to work towards our DCP, and we knew that depended on them registering their project. And because I suppose I was president and I wanted to get the best result for my club for the year, and I knew it might be a bit of a challenge because of the lack of understanding maybe or knowledge of pathways, that I just thought it was a good way to do it. And my hope would be that if they're knowledgeable enough about it, that if we do go back to bricks and mortar meeting, maybe they can buddy up with a new member, and even after the meeting, if there's a laptop or sometime during the following week, they can just say to somebody, look, I know how to do this. Will I give you a call? Will we do a 20-minute Zoom call and we can go through it? I'm hoping that will be, in theory, how it will work. But it worked very well this year. I thought everybody engaged a bit, and I do feel that among the members that completed their projects, when September comes, I would have every confidence in them being able to register their own going forward. If we are back in a hotel and we're not on Zoom, that they can stay back after a meeting. So I thought that worked really well, and we achieved our educational goals this year.
He became President's Distinguished for the first time in a long time, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that did work, because I know people were bamboozled by the website, as you would be the first time that you see it. So I think that worked well, and I hope, well, I suppose next year we'll see, can they be the mentor then on how to do it for the newbies or the ones that haven't gone to maybe path completion or level completion yet.
Yeah, and what I would say about pathways, don't fear the system. It just takes little baby steps and a bit of practice. There are people there to help if you want a one-to-one session with myself, or maybe you're like Patricia did for her speakers after a meeting. She kept them online to show them how to assess their skills after and how to close down the levels, so that they can see it there and then while they were fresh off a club meeting. So sometimes these are the things we need to do to just kind of have that approach with people, just to ensure that that they understand what's happening, so that they feel more confident with the system as they go along. When things are new, it's not always easy to change, especially for a lot of us that came off an old system onto a new system, and then we're trying to explain that to newer members coming in. So it will take a while, and I know and I understand and appreciate from people that were telling me Pathway's been around a while and people are still stuck, so it's just a new way of learning. And I think just be gentle with yourself. It's nothing you're doing. I know it's frustrating, but just take it slowly, one step at a time, and eventually you get there. So does anybody have any comments or any thoughts or questions they'd like to ask?
I was just going to share with you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, Krystal.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, you were going to show us how to register the completed, or the Basecamp manager will register the completed level onto the Toastmaster site, so it will be reflected in the goals.
Yeah, so I just shared the screen there. Thank you for reminding me, Philip. See, this is the time to be reminding me and asking your questions. Okay, what I do is, okay. So when you're Basecamp manager, so what you find is this is your homepage when you come in as Basecamp manager. And for those members that have finished a level or maybe an entire path, they will mark the project as complete. That notification just automatically gets sent to the Basecamp manager, and you just click on pending requests. Oh, sorry. Go back into it. Yeah, I'm in the wrong club. So I go to Cork Douglas Toastmasters, continue. Log in as Basecamp manager, so I can go in and check if there's any pending requests. So if a member has finished a level or a path, I come in here and check pending requests, what I would see is that their names will pop up down here, the name of the training they've completed and the option. So then the option then is to approve of the level or the path. So then if you want to award it to, say, Club Central for DCP, you must come out of Basecamp. Okay. You go back into the main Toastmasters website. Okay. And if I go down here, down to Club Central, just click on that. Submit Education Award. So I just select a member. You okay with that, Philip? Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Krystal.
I know it's a pain to come out of the Basecamp and into the Toastmasters International website and trying to remember to go into Club Central and actually submit the awards like we would have done the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, that is what beat me with the whole program. I had everything else, but I couldn't get it onto the site. Yeah. Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Another happy customer. Anybody else? Any questions?
Yes, Krystal. When you belong to multiple clubs and you finish 2 paths, and 1 path is for each club, right? For 2 clubs. How does Toastmasters reconcile your points or your achievement? The grid that you show, you got to complete 2 paths and then do all the other things. How does Toastmasters reconcile that? Do they just automatically track and say that, okay, you met your objective and if you complete all your other high performance leadership program and everything, you should get your DTM?
Yeah, so the educational awards in Pathways are tracked anyway to Basecamp. But as I said, like if you're in multiple clubs, you just need to change the home club each time just to ensure that the credit is going to the right club. So if I'm doing dynamic leadership, and as you saw, I had 2 clubs up, Cork Douglas and Brunswick County, but I want to give it to Cork Douglas, then I have to ensure that I have Cork Douglas displayed up on Basecamp, because otherwise the other club will get the notifications and the requests. And what I've seen happen before is that somebody didn't wait for the email from Toastmasters to say that the home club has been changed, and the notification went to Brunswick instead of Cork Douglas, and they actually went in and registered my awards for the club. So it's just a bit of communication between BPs of club if that happens. So I'm just going to just share the screen just to kind of give a more definite kind of idea what I'm talking about. Okay, so
So that's the to get your DTM, does your both of your path have to be for going towards 1 club?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
See, that's the thing. You see, I have 2 clubs down here and I can select one of them if I'm working through certain levels. If I want to give the other club some educational awards, I'll go down and change it to the other club. And I get this dialog box will open up. And what I do then is I'll continue with the levels and the projects that I want to give Brunswick County, but it's up to each club to go into Club Central and select the member. Krystal has completed level 1, 2, 3 in dynamic leadership.
Yes.
And then Cork Douglas will do the same with level 3, 4, and 5. But there is a form that you need to fill out. Okay, so what I do is I go into, it's actually there, I think, in the Toastmasters website. Just get it there. So if you're going to search DTM form, I think it's just in the normal resources. It should be there. Yeah, so there's Pathways DTM application. So it doesn't matter who you do the awards with, okay, but only 1 club will get credit for the DTM. Okay, so you might have given 3 levels from dynamic leadership to Brunswick County, the other 3 to Cork Douglas. But when it comes down to it, you choose the club that you want to give your DTM credit to. So you just fill this out. You find the pack completion, 2 packs in the Toastmasters pathways, in print or online. It will ask you path 1, what's the name of the path, the date you completed it, the same with path 2. The Distinguished Toastmaster Project, all they're looking for is dates. They don't need anything else. So you could either scan this or post it to Toastmasters International. The same with the leadership roles, the club mentor, club coach role, the club sponsor. If you've done speechcraft or leadership program, you put in the workshop name, the date you presented it, or served successfully as a club sponsor, and so on. All we're doing is filling out this form, and it just goes back to Toastmasters either by a scanned copy by email or you post it manually.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Jennifer?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much.
No worries. I see Matthew has his hand up.
Yes, hello, Krystal.
Hi.
Excuse me. I just thought I have 3 questions all in one here.
Okay.
If I do a speech,
right,
is it the evaluator who fills out the evaluation form and sends it to Toastmaster, or does the speaker have to do anything?
It depends on the club. A lot of the speakers send their evaluation forms by email to their evaluators. Some clubs might ask that it be sent to the Toastmaster, and the Toastmaster can distribute them. But it depends pretty much on the club. But for me, I'm more comfortable sending my evaluation form directly to my evaluator, and that person then just emails it back to me when the club meeting has ended.
I see. Thank you. And how, as a speaker, do I know if the evaluator has done what they're supposed to do?
Well, Matthew, they will need to give you an oral evaluation at a club meeting anyway, and they have to fill out an evaluation form. So that form comes back to you to review, and you can read it for yourself.
Thank you. And thirdly, then, and lastly, what happens if the evaluator of my speech is doing pathways through the...
Oh, you have to mute yourself there, Matty.
Sorry about that.
You're grand.
What is the situation if the evaluator of my speech is doing pathways through the book form rather than online? How does the evaluator can... I'm not sure if I was an evaluator, but I wasn't doing pathways online, but I was doing it through the manuals. How would I send my evaluation, or how would I?
So are you asking me, Matthew, if it was in person, is it?
Yeah, I have evaluated somebody. But as from tonight now, I'm going to do this pathways online. But at the moment, I've just been doing it on the manuals. So I have evaluated this person, but what do I do with the evaluation?
So you have the printed manuals, is it?
Yes.
From Pathways, okay.
Yeah.
So what you could do is, if you have a handy phone, you can take a picture of it with the camera and send it on to somebody in a WhatsApp message or something, you know?
All right, that's grand. Yeah, thank you.
No problem, Matthew.
Thank you.
No worries. Anyone else? Feel free to unmute and speak.
I think there's one person there, Krystal, has their hand up. I think the name starts there, VTM, Visiting Toastmaster, Pam, I think, is it?
Yes,
yeah.
I'm unable to show my video. So good evening.
Hello.
And I have one concern. It was raised earlier, but I don't know if you have a solution to it. There are times when I would have to conduct or to do an evaluation. However, whenever you request for the form and it comes, you're unable to type. I heard you mention something about the software, but there are times I'm able to type on the set form if I have to evaluate another member, either in club or out of club. Is there a particular software I may have to get for the computer, or is it the way it was loaded by the presenter, because I have a few evaluations that I need to prepare. However, I'm unable to type, and I don't necessarily want to write flash and send to the WhatsApp group. It's a lot.
Yeah, it could probably depend on your browser as well. Sometimes the Chrome browser is probably the best one to use with Pathways. I know some people prefer Safari or Mozilla Firefox or some of those ones, but the most used piece of software is the Adobe one. But we have to make sure it's the more up-to-date version of the software. But if it's a continuous problem, maybe it's just an email to Toastmasters International, because it could be the evaluation forms within those particular levels or projects that could be the problem. Does that help?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Patricia, is there any more questions?
Krystal,
could I ask a question? My question is just that, like a lot of members, Toastmaster members, they do find Pathways very confusing, and it can be very off-putting, for new members. We're all trying to attract new members to the clubs, and I'm just wondering, will Toastmasters, do they get feedback on it, and will they ever simplify it for members? I know there's a lot of information and it is very informative, and it can be hard to display so that it's user friendly, but a lot of people are finding it confusing, and it's just, I know that Toastmasters is trying to attract new members. I think it's very important that maybe they should review it at some stage to make it more user friendly.
Yeah, and I think for an organisation such as ours that kind of prize ourselves on evaluation and feedback, it's no harm to email Toastmasters International and give them feedback, because that is the very thing they're encouraging us all to do, get feedback when we're doing speeches or doing any sort of leadership roles. So at the moment, I'm not too sure what's happening, but I do know people, as you say, Breda, are kind of frustrated, they're fed up. It is, a lot of people say it is cumbersome for them getting through all the technicalities of it. But what I would say is that the more people that are giving feedback to Toastmasters on a continuous basis, the more they know. I'm hoping that maybe further down the line they might simplify it, because it's not one size fits all for everyone. Some people just don't like technology, that's okay. Some people, prefer it more simplified, more streamlined. There's just too many ways to get into things. So there's too many options basically inside Pathways. So I think, if you can send emails off to Toastmasters International, just, the more they hear, I suppose, the better they might act, But sorry, if anyone followed Richard Peck on International World Tour. Okay. So yeah, so the more we communicate with World Headquarters, I suppose the better we are probably getting an answer down the line. I can't really answer that for you because I'm not speaking on behalf of Toastmasters International. I'm just speaking on my own experience. But I imagine that, the more people that will complain or share their dissatisfaction with the program, I suppose it might give them some kind of incentive or encouragement to actually do something about it. Okay, I'm sorry, Breda, I can't give you a definite answer on that.
Just an observation. Krystal, in the beginning, in 2018, 2019, it was a nightmare for the base camp managers to get anything recorded. But this new system, I find it's fantastic. And it's a lot easier, which I really, the only thing I was missing is that point. But thank you very much. Yes. So,
yeah, and I suppose
it could always, sorry.
No, I just saying it could be different for everyone. I know a lot of people that prefer the old legacy program to Pathways, but it takes a lot of getting used to as well. And I think it's just about going easy on ourselves, not getting too stressed about it. And, like I did, I reached out to a mentor. I was 2 years before I can get going on Pathways, you know. So it does take a bit of time. It does take a bit of time to get used to it and not to be too hard on yourselves.
No, I started a club on the 7th of January this year. We were chartered, Genesis Online, and we have 17 new members, and it is quite a job.
Well done.
But we get in there to teach them about Pathways. But some of them catch it quickly, and others take a little bit more time. But it is big. It's a big hassle. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and I think as well, you know, there's so many training and educational workshops going on in Pathways, and you're finding about 50 different ways to do things. But I think, you know, just a step-by-step approach to going through the website and just only using the tools you need to learn for now, and don't worry about the other cumbersome parts of it till later on, until you feel a bit more confident. What I would say as well is on the Toastmasters International website under Pathways, there's a frequently asked questions section. A lot of people have, you know, asked questions to Toastmasters, and they've put up a load of answers there as well. So it might be worth exploring as well, because you might learn something in there as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
We're all up to date on questions in the chat anyway, Krystal. So if anybody from the audience wants to say something.
Krystal, I was just going to say that some of the things that we've realised only this year is that if you do contest chair or chief judge, that could be a level 4 elective. So that's just something for people to be aware of. And also active listening is in a level 3 elective, but it can be a level 2 project as well. And that can be used for table topics. So people don't realise that. And it's just thinking and being creative and going through the projects and the paths to understand that it's a little bit in some ways like the competent leadership manual, if you think about it, because you could use a project in level 3, 4 and 5 potentially for doing Toastmaster, and someone could organise that, they could plan it, then they could get their team together and then deliver it as a level 5 project. So it's thinking bigger than just, oh my god, it has to be Toastmasters, you know, or it has to be something at work. I think if you think about it, there are ways to do the projects.
Oh yeah, it's just about being creative with it as well, like, you know, because managing online meetings, you could be a Toastmaster of a meeting, managing that online meeting, and that's credit as well, like, you know. So there are projects there that you can use to your advantage, and it's just about being clever with them.
Yeah, but this has been brilliant. So thank you so much for doing it. It's been really, really good.
Thank you, Claire. So any final comments, or is everybody happy? Do you feel you've learned something, or did I bamboozle you?
Krystal, Ted Melampi here. Ted Melampi here. This has been a fantastic workshop. Thank you, and thanks, Patricia. That was real dynamic leadership.
Thank you, Ted.
Well done.
Appreciate that.
Thanks,
well done.
Thanks, everyone. It's great to see such a huge audience. We had about 60, I think, Garrod at the start of this, at the peak of this, and it's fantastic to see that there's so many people out there still learning about Pathways, given the fact that we have our gripes with it, we have our grievances with it, but at the same time, we still want to learn and benefit from our Toastmasters training and experience as well. It's not a perfect world, but I think just give yourselves time and be gentle with yourselves and go through it step by step. And a mentor really worked for me as well. And should you want further assistance, just give me a shout anytime. There's no problem. So thank you all for tuning in, and it's great to see so many familiar faces and so many new faces from around the world. And thank you for coming. And this is on YouTube if you want to replay it back again as a resource, or just to, you know, go over some things that we've talked about. Please do. It's there for you as a resource.
Yeah, well done, Krystal. You have
Krystal, we want a part 2. Is there a part 2?
There is.